Hello, welcome to the last week of my summer writing semester. I got a bit of a late start on my Finish Your Damn Novel class, but I am done now. September is being dedicated entirely to Project Death, which is a good thing because I have realized my overwriting problem recently, and I'm going back and basically seeing where I could either merge some scenes early on or cut them entirely and just like buff up the scenes that stay. I realized I wasn't hitting my catalyst until about like the 17,000 word mark, which is just too late for the story. And then that just like set off everything else. It was just so long. Anyways, so that's going to be my big focus for this week. But of course, it's the last week of my 10-week long experiment. And so I not only want to show that, but I also want to talk about some lessons learned and sort of coming up with my own writing semester, what I'll do differently next time, and how I created the syllabi for my classes. I'll also set up the beginnings, or at least some concepts, for what my autumn semester will look like. It is going to be significantly different, but I'm very excited. I have so enjoyed getting to set aside time in a class style format for things that they usually just fall to the wayside, you know? So yes, but for right now, I need an eye break. Excuse me. I may or may not have picked off all of my polish. Something about just sitting here thinking about it. My partner gave me this like squishy little thing, which has been really nice to use instead. Did not know what I was missing out on, and I think I need a bigger one to use during these thinking moments as I stare down this new beat sheet with new ideas for what should be merged together. Now, one of the things that was cool in concept but did not fully execute in practice all the time was the actual blocking of my classes, which I did really enjoy and do really enjoy being like, oh, it's time for this. But oftentimes I find I'm either like 30 minutes off, or sometimes like tomorrow I am taking my partner's grandma to the doctor, and it is right during what would be my short story submissions class time. And I mean, that's one of the like amazing, wonderful things about the job that I have, is that I don't have to do things at specific times. The idea of having these specific times for classes is good. Nice to have them blocked off. Don't always do it though. So after shopping and cooking a little bit, I have been working on the beat sheet. What I actually think I want to do though for brand management today. So this video I just posted, people aren't choosing to watch this video as often as some of your other videos, changing the title thumbnail. And so normally I don't pay any attention to this, but actually I don't like the thumbnail I made. I've been trying to learn a little bit more about making thumbnails and like put a little bit more work into it, and I didn't do that for this time because I ran out of time for when I planned to do it and it was gonna go live. So I'm gonna try later tonight what would have been during brand management to fix that. See if I can't find some inspiration that I enjoy and then like redo it. Will it change anything? Who knows? But just for my own satisfaction, I would like to fix that. And then for reading, actually I already did one of this on Monday. I needed to record the intro for a vlog and for a reading vlog, and actually I have several reading vlogs going on. Observe. The first one is books that I bought while traveling in the last year, mostly at indie bookstores. Another one is the indie bookstore close to me. I'm part of their book club and I'm trying to read those books. And actually, With Love from Cold World is the book club pick for last month that we're going to meet in person to talk about, which I've never met up with them in before. So like I'm a little bit anxious, but I think it should be fun. I have a Terry Pratchett vlog I'm trying to do, and then it is the Summer Scare Readathon, which not those two, but Delicious Monsters and Murder in the Corn Maze are two of the books that I am hoping to read for it. Is this a lot of reading vlogs? Yes, but between that and tennis, that's what my week's gonna look like. So my nails cannot take much more of this, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break and we're gonna hit the books. Ooh, shifters. Okay. I'm going to write this down. I do like that they also linked a Wikipedia page for a whole list of shapeshifters to give you some ideas. I also have a book to pick up for the summer scan readathon and some in transit. So I think I'm gonna swing by the library before I go to my partner's grandma's place, and that way I'll have a book with me. I'll have a book, I'll have a notebook. I'll be ready to go. All right, it is now almost 1 o'clock. I had the best intentions to work, but Bongo asked me to come into the room with her, and so we got to chat while she was being checked out. So alas, the only notes I have are like werewolf question mark. Is that too obvious? Maybe I should check out the Wikipedia page. And I had for a brief moment thought about like maybe it would be interesting to have the shapeshifting happening in a doctor's office. Like, you could make it kind of funny, but anyways, that's the extent of my notes. And then I went and I bought the lemonade because I thought I would try and make, since it's US Open time, the honey deuce, which is the drink they have at the Open. Yeah, are you a good seedy? Are you a good seedy? Hi. Y'all all want love so bad, huh? So that will go in the fridge for later, but I think it is time for some Irish stew and some cornbread. Now, it is about time for my how to structure a series course. However, I actually managed to do almost everything I'd set out for in that class. So if we're keeping with like a semester analogy, this is the one where I aced the class so well I don't even have to show up for the final. Okay, to that end, I'm going to take this time instead in this last week, finals week, to work on Project Death, the class that actually needs the most help. So the catalyst was at 17,000 words. I need to get it to 10,000. And I have successfully managed to merge 2 scenes now. Or rather, I merged some scenes once and I merged some scenes again, so 2. And I think that's basically how I'm going to have to do it. I think this will allow me to keep all of the interactions and information that I want. But, you know, we'll just cut down on the... It's not filler because I never thought of it as filler, but since I've never overwritten anything like this before, I think this will just... I think this will work. I hope it'll work. For this experiment, I had come up with the syllabi for each of my 5 classes, and then about halfway through I posted some videos on Patreon for several of the weeks. I had a week where I was going to be gone in July, which was about 3 weeks after I started the experiment, if I'm remembering right. And so I knew I had a built-in time to basically reset what the syllabi goals were, and that's what I did. So I did already cut them a little bit, and I think that was really helpful. So that might be something I add in again. I feel like I need a calendar. I'm mulling over these changes, so now's probably a good time to start looking at the autumn semester. Also while watching tennis. Oh, okay, Michael Phelps, hello. So the first thing I need to figure out is when and for how long my semester is going to take place. I am going on a writing retreat, but I'm also road tripping up there, and it's quite a ways. And then I'm going to be doing a research trip on the back half, so that'll be quite fun. But so anyways, I'm going to be gone for like 2 weeks. Technically, autumn starts on the 22nd or 23rd of September, and I've been enjoying the idea of going with some of the seasons, especially for these kind of semesters. So what I think I'll probably do is I'll wait until after the trip, which has me starting on the 9th of October. And then 10 weeks from then means I'd end just before winter starts. I'd have like a week off. I already mentioned that one of the best parts of doing this is having specific set aside time for things that I wanted to do, but just like in order of importance, just like were never important enough to make the time for it. And I still think that is one good way of thinking about it. I also think that I had too many classes. One of my issues with summer is that my migraines are the worst during this time, and I should have been probably more aware of that when I was initially building out this 10-week-long experiment, but that's exactly why I had to do it, so that this time, this fall, this autumn, will be better. So I think I'm either gonna do 3 or 4 classes. A big one here is I still think it is fun to have a finish your damn novel sort of class, but also I'm kind of hoping that I will be done with Project Death by then. I need to give it to Jess on the 1st, so I may not be done with it, but I will be getting feedback on it. Here are my current ideas. So I'm thinking of calling one just NaNoWriMo, which I have a couple of ideas for what my project will be this November, or projects, hoo-hoo. But, you know, NaNoWriMo encompasses like Preptober, you got finishing NaNoWriMo if you don't finish it during November, so I think as a whole, Nano just needs to be a class. Then I loved having reading and the short story submissions. Having the reading class did help me to read more, which is awesome. And with the short story submissions, I actually submitted to things, which is something that I've wanted to do. And I put a lot of questions on it because I think I'm committed to submitting to at least a short story and a drabble each month, regardless of whether it's a class or not. But again, that is writing time, and how much time do I have? So anyways, this is the... But in the spirit of I want to learn more about a thing, and I've been saying it for a while and I just haven't set aside the time, we have audiobooks for beginners and cover design 101. I have most of the equipment I would need to record audiobooks, but there is a bit of a learning curve, and I have started and stopped, which does not really work, obviously. So I think if I had dedicated time that I did it each week, that's what I need in order to actually finish it. And for cover design 101, as you guys can see from my thumbnails, as I talked about before, I'm not the best at all of that. So I think it would actually be really helpful to take a class or to set aside time and to watch a bunch of YouTube videos and like really get it together so that I can learn how to make my own covers. Oh, nice shot. Right now I can do very basic ones, and I have friends who can make better ones, and that has been very helpful, but I would like to know how to do that, you know? I think that would be nice. And I think it's a skill that could infiltrate into the thumbnail making, just all aspects. If I could just learn how to like see it and do it on Photoshop or whatever other tool I need, that would be wonderful. Again, setting aside time for it though has been tough when I need to be writing. So, you know, 2 hours, 3 hours a week, slow and steady. And I already know that one of those hours will be dedicated to taking Chip Kid's Introduction to Book Cover Design Making Stories Visual class over on Skillshare, who is the sponsor of today's video. Chip is actually a graphic designer at Alfred A. Knopf, so he literally designs book covers for a living for a publishing company. He knows what he's doing. And his class hits on some of the things that I'm most interested in, like learning about typography and how to design across a series. I'm so excited. I already put it in my little syllabus for fall. One of my favorite things about Skillshare is how accessible the classes are. I love the transcript feature, and actually I found Chip's class by scrolling down a little bit where you can see the related skills, and I searched through graphic design, book cover, anything that I have like a hint of an interest in, I have looked up. There's such a wide variety of classes to explore, from writing to photography to web development to freelance and entrepreneurship, which I know is a big part of what a lot of us are trying to do. And the first 1,000 of y'all to click my link down below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So if you also want to try something new, learn a new skill, expand your creativity, you have a free month with which to do it. I am so excited to take Chip's class, and thank you once again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And now it was time for some of my reading homework, end quote. quotes, because even though I've set aside time for these classes, it's not the only time I'm doing this work, right? For example, one of my big goals for my reading class was to read at night and kind of like help ease myself into sleep that way and not be on my phone so much. And I found that having it be a specific written out goal has really helped. All right. It is now time for Finish Your Damn Novel class. And today I am working on chapter 1. I do have the idea to combine within chapter 1. Actually, it might just be every chapter from here on out. I'm excited, a little apprehensive, but mostly excited. For a long time, chapter 1 has been sort of set in my mind, so this is changing it, but I think it's gonna be a good change, and it'll cut down on a longer scene later. I am picking up my mother-in-law right after this class ends, so it's kind of perfect timing. Okay, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get to work. Okay, I don't know how long it's been. I feel like 20-something minutes, 25. But I am off the call. My doctor's appointment has been rescheduled. Anyways, that's fun. I'm actually, I've been debating redoing the first line, so I'm just kind of playing around with what it would be. The scene shouldn't change too much until around right here. You couldn't see that. A little over halfway, because it's gonna set up where she moves in the second scene of the chapter. Oh, and 149 words. I went ahead and moved the old manuscript. It's now manuscript 1, so now all the words are counting toward the actual manuscript again. This way I can keep on track, but seeing that 50K just go down to 0 was like, which is, it's exactly what it needs to do, but just a little flutter of fear. Where are we, Sadie? Where are we? Okay, I just finished chapter 2 of this book. This is a straight romance, so they alternate chapters, which I wasn't entirely sure of from the front cover because this is like the style that's happening, but from the back we get the little snippet from Osroth the Ruthless point of view, so like you kind of knew, which I do like. I love going back and forth. I love the concept of this. It reminds me of like if Hallmark tried to do this. I understand at the beginning like why we're gonna have the demon and the witch sort of like this at first. She has accidentally summoned him and made this terrible gamble with her own life, not realizing what she's done, and he can sense her power. She doesn't have any control over, but she's been prophesized to have, so like we get a little bit. The tension, the concept is cool. The execution is what feels sort of Hallmarky to me. I don't know that I liked the way the main character's friends were introduced, and her mom is so over the top. That's the part that really reminded me of Hallmark. It is just so extra. Look, I love my Hallmark, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. I just don't know if I can read it. But from the second chapter, we really set up the like fake dating dynamic. So we'll see. We have little asides, Muriel's self-help books, The Magic of Dating, A Practical Guide for Lonely Witches. Like there's a couple cute little things in there that you kind of like sort of chuckle at. And I like the idea of the world where witches and supernatural folk in general are like clearly integrated into the human world, and where they're at is just happens to be more like 70% supernatural because of the ley lines and stuff. But I don't know. I hate this because I'm getting a sense that I'm not gonna like it as much as I want to. But also I shouldn't judge just yet. I'm not far enough in. Let me get a little bit farther. Let me get a little further. What I am gonna do though is I have some cleaning and some folding of clothes to do, which means it is perfect for audiobook time. And I was able to also check out Delicious Monsters. So I'm very excited, but what I want to do is actually read the opening couple paragraphs myself. I love an opening sentence, an opening paragraph, and then I will listen to the audiobook. Okay. The content warnings and the author's note before the first page even starts. Thank you for that. Chapter 1, Daisy. There were 2 stories of how I was named. One was what Mom told people, never casually, only if they asked. It was a dream of a drive long enough that you strain not to doze off, mingled with the extra sweet tang of wild blueberries. Okay, what a great opening chapter. One could argue that this chapter 1 is a prologue, and I feel a certain type of way about prologues oftentimes, so it's perfect for me. And then chapter 2 also opens with a banger of a sentence, which is seeing dead people was the worst. I love like protagonists and main characters that can see dead people. It is one of my favorite things ever since I read the Mediator series as a kid growing up. So I am so excited. Okay, time to listen via audio. This is so good so far. I'm so excited to see how our 2 main characters are going to like merge together. Ooh, okay. Can't wait. Vin is also very clearly excited for me in this moment. All right, we are on the second sprint and we've had several little magic horses and magic doggies, quite fun. I am at 1,355 words. On my rewrite, the original first chapter was 3,000 words. So I'm hoping I can get that down to 2,500 total and for that to include a little bit of a scene that was in about chapter 3 brought over it. And hopefully that'll be included in the full 2,500. So if I don't get this done tonight, I will definitely get it done by tomorrow. That was one of my goals for the day. Besides the Apex magazine, which is necromancy for this month, I want 1 chapter of Project Death, film the intro for the Summer Ski Readathon, finish a book, and my Patreon stream. And I have a not pretty scoop of tiramisu, but it tastes amazing. Okay, it is officially the last day of my classes and of my experiment. So I realized as I'd finished up Finish Your Damn Novel, Brand Management, and Reading, I thought it would be fun to grade myself. Okay, please don't mind these still wet hair. So I've already said that for reading, I actually think I nailed this. I read more in this 10-week time than I usually do, but I think it's almost like a book a week, which is phenomenal for me. That's what I would like to do all the time, but don't always get around to. I tend to do some binge reading, but I find my creativity is best when I'm sort of constantly refilling that well. So for reading, I'm giving myself an A-. The only reason it's a minus is because I did not finish all the vlogs I wanted to do, but I did start all of them, and the vlogs themselves were sort of secondary to the reading as a whole. So A-, we're starting off strong. You will notice that I started there because we're gonna go to brand management next. I'm gonna give myself a like solid B-. I did do a much better job of playing around with some design and tinkering. I also sort of outsourced part of the original concept for the class to my sister-in-law. We're still brainstorming some things there together. The only part I didn't get to was the podcast stuff that I'd included in brand management. So yeah, I got about 80% of the things I wanted to done. B-. And then for Finish Your Damn Novel, this would be an F, frankly, because I did not finish the 2 novels I'd set out to when I originally designed the class. Of course, halfway through when I reimagined what I needed to do, a more realistic approach, I did tone that down quite a bit, and rather than finishing was just like trying to get words in each week, which I did do, but ultimately not as many. And then because the writing retreat is taking place, I have now fully switched to Project Death and had to put Closet Full of Cauldrons on the back burner for a bit. So yeah, it would be an F. But I'm gonna say it's like a weighted curve situation because the professor did not really set up her student for success, especially when taking into account how bad summer is as a semester for me. I know. So with this weighted curve, we're gonna bring that up to a C-. The grades are fake, it's fine. Now I'm gonna go ahead and wait to grade my short story submissions class. But as I mentioned, how to structure a series, didn't even have to take the final. I already aced out of it. I fully plotted out the meridian maps and figured out where all of the beats need to go for the overall series as a structure. I did read a couple series and research sort of where some went wrong. It was good. It was really, really good. And for today's stream and for the short story submissions class, I'm going to be working on my drabble to start, I think during the first sprint, and then, yeah, and then maybe that short story for the second and third. Let's do this. That is time on our 1 hour, 31 minute, 19 second sprint. Thank you, D100, for your crazy roll. I have some concepts down for the short story, and I actually wrote 387 words in it. It has a max of 1,000 words. So 387 out of 1,000 is really good. I like the vibe of where this is going, so that's quite fun. And then for the monthly drabble, it can only be 100 words, and I currently have 119. So that one's gonna have to be condensed a little bit more, but I think it's a good first attempt. No way. I would not have believed that this is how the first set would go. Okay, so I needed to do some night writing to get it done, but you know how I was saying 2,500 words was the goal? Tell me that's not awesome. 2,585? On top of that, despite having this chapter, again, up until this point, more or less set, I have combined something to make it even cooler that I did not have before. Yes, 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 yes. And you know what that means? Check it off my list. Woo. 792 words and some bonus words that didn't fit but helped me to get to where I needed to go. Isn't that always the case? I will go back and delete them, but yay! We're cheering for the point, but also for me, for finishing my syllabi. So let's go over my fall semester, shall we? I settled on fewer classes. That was one of the big takeaways from this summer semester. Autumn is still quite warm here in Texas, so my migraines still like to act up a little extra, but they do begin to sort of taper back to their normal amount as the months progress. Fall also tends to be a really like production heavy time for me. I don't know if it's because it's like nearing the end of the year so that my push to finish stuff is high, or if some combination of those reasons is why I start setting deadlines for this time, or of course, you know, just NaNo as a season for writers. All just sort of comes together. So the first step to creating the syllabus, or the sort of weekly breakdown for each of the classes, is my general goals for each. So for instance, NaNoWriMo, as I mentioned, big goal is Preptober, which means I need to decide on the projects that I'll be working on. I do have several options. I also want to try and do weekday vlogs, weekday streams, and make a little word scarf. That's how I'm imagining it. A little crochet project relating to how many words I get each day. With a goal of no work on the weekends, other than my scarf probably, and most likely continuing on into December to finish the projects that I choose and begin in Preptober NaNoWriMo time. For my audiobook for beginners class, I need to double check the list of supplies that I need. I want to record some short stories first, and I'd like to play around with uploading some of them to Spotify, also definitely Amazon. I want to do my romances and any of the horror that I have written, and also check and see if my brother would like to help me record some voices for a project that we were both working on. And then for Cover Design 101, I have the Skillshare class that I mentioned that I would like to take. I also have on my computer a whole folder just dedicated to like thumbnails that I like, that I've taken, you know, across months, and I think it would be fun to try and recreate some of those. I'd like to research a little bit more about typography and just like basic rules and stuff. I want to recreate some popular cover trends, and then finally design a cover for A Closet Full of Cauldrons. So with those goals in mind, I basically broke them down week by week, with the added knowledge that that first week of the classes, I'm still going to be at least partially or mostly on the road, sort of TBD right now. So I needed some easy stuff to do, but that also sort of eases me into the classes again. Yeah. So for instance, NaNo, breaking it down into finalizing the 2 projects, that is an easy first week thing. Then doing my general prep, including the loglines, queries, synopsis, outlining them with the beat sheets method that I like, create some fun working covers, which works perfectly in tandem with the Cover Design 101 class. And then NaNo starts, where each week the goal is just to write them words, vlog, and stream, and celebrate. Now this is going to take quite a bit of time. I realize NaNo's past, I would wake up in the morning kind of early like I like to, and do most of my writing and do all of the vlogging then, and I'd usually be done around 11 or noon. Take a bit of a break, eat, do whatever, then edit the vlog during that time, and then my hope after is to stream. So that's quite a bit of the day that I'm taking away working on 2 projects, which is partially why I chose only to do the 3 classes, and also something that I learned from this past summer semester. I was still doing romance work and some other writing work that was not involved in the classes or any of the class projects like Project Death or A Closet Full of Cauldrons or the short stories each month, you know, and it was just a lot. But I'm not going to be doing any of that outside of the NaNo class this time, which is why the audiobook class is great, because it is taking all of my existing all of my existing work that I've already done and just putting it into audio format. It will definitely still take time, but it's not taking the same kind of creative coming up with stuff time. I'd also like to see about how easy it would be to upload to my own website, and yeah, just some stuff to learn still. So I built in some time for that. And then for my cover design, it's all about learning, it's regrading, it's finding styles that I like until the very end of the class, where I want to make A Closet Full of Cauldrons, and I want that to be the cover for A Closet Full of Cauldrons. So those are the goals. That's the breakdown. I'm feeling very good about it. I do not have a built-in week to reevaluate like I had last time, but that's just something I'm going to keep in mind. Maybe set up an alert for myself to just keep tabs on things and how they're going. Yes, yes, yes. Please do comment down below and let me know if you came up with your own writing semester. I got a lot of comments that y'all are going to be taking on this too, or people who wanted to see how I broke down the syllabi. I will probably still include, I'll make it a little bit prettier, flesh out the goals a little bit more, but otherwise it's pretty much exactly what I shared with you. Let me know if you have any experience recording your own audiobooks or your own podcast or cover designing. I would love to know what resources worked for you. Maybe even as a consumer, your favorite audiobooks you've ever listened to, if you have a favorite narrator. I'm just generally curious. I know that narrators can sort of make or break my own experience when listening to books. And let me know if you've noticed any trends within the covers of books and genres that you love. Yes. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and thank you especially to some of my new patrons this month. Megan Turner, Diana S, Minkit, Kyle Franklin, Paige S, Arabella Kennedy Hughes, Nadia Kripkowski, Weld91, Agnes, Derek Black, and Ashlyn McComber. And I'll see you all very soon in a video. Bye!